Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're gonna talk about mobile versus mirrorless in 2021. Things have changed in this year, so let's dive right into it. Well, first you have to understand this core principle, and I'm pretty sure you have heard it in Facebook, photographic magazine, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry YouTuber would have said it because it's absolutely fundamentally true. That is, the best camera is the one that you have with you. Fundamentally, photography or videography for that matter is about moments of time, and that could happen anywhere. Think of it this way. Let's say I'm just going YOLO around my waist and I randomly spot 3 rainbows happening at one time. Now here's the that's a precious moment, but am I going to run back to my home and get my DSLR and 99% with certainty that when I'm gonna get back there it would have moved on or it would not be there anymore? Or I just pull out my phone and click, done. I have something precious at this point in time. So this law applies to photography fundamentally. On a fundamental level, this is absolute. So what you have with you is the greatest tool you have with you. It does not matter, oh, I have a A7 S3 in my closet, or I have a Canon, I'm saying basically Nikon D50, or let's say Canon R5 or things of that nature. It does not matter. What do you have with you? That's the primary role. Another aspect is if you take the phone era basically, and you take a photography as in digital photography from equipment wise. Let's say start at 1990 and then start phones with 1990. Now if you see the growth of phones in 1990 to 2020 versus growth of camera equipment from basically 1990 to 2020, one is running at a snail's pace, another is going to the moon. Fundamentally, mobile phones are going exponentially better. Like they went from barely can do to anything to be like, oh dude, this is a full-fledged laptop. Like just wait for some apps to be written for it and you're done. Like you are tangibly at this point in time. Most mobile phones are powerful enough that if you had the ability to connect to a desktop and connect desktop, I'm saying basically a television, you can do basic things. Basic laptops you would not need to, like, oh, I have a TV, done. Like just figure out a way to have low latency wire casting to that, done. Like that's the whole point. So growth of mobile phones went from it's like better than nothing but not really that useful to, oh, it's good, it has some potential, whoa, 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 it's really good, to like, whoa, it's so close to a freaking red camera. So that's the whole point. Another aspect is, you may be very rich, I am not. I am fundamentally in a position where I have to calculate every single dollar I am spending, every single rupee I am spending. So we don't have infinite money. Now there are many more people like me who does not have infinite money versus people who are like, so fundamentally speaking, that's also another aspect. So it does not matter how good your tool is if your pipeline is not efficient enough. Basically think of it this way. If you are making your living on YouTube, on Instagram or Facebook, that does not matter. Like you are making your living, so you want to improve your efficiency. Think of it this way. How many people basically wedding photographer, they are dealing with this at this point in time. It's like, just bring your biggest camera and all you have to do is just stream that data to our basically WhatsApp group. That's like, people are literally asking that from a photographer right now. But again, the pipeline is not efficient. You can camera is still stuck in that old era where it's like, you're supposed to take the photograph, you're supposed to dump that into card, you're supposed to pull that card, you're supposed to put that in Lightroom, then you're supposed to fine tune it, then you're supposed to bake it, then you're supposed to broadcast. No, like in mobile phone, take an adjustment live directly, you can do that. So fundamentally, pipeline is key, and we want to reduce friction because friction wastes time. We do not have time. So that's why this basically approach, the fact that mobile phones are catching up so goddamn quickly, like they went from to like, oh, this is a laughing matter, to like, whoa, 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 this is seriously good, to like right now where it's like, dude, you can actually replace, like, you can intercut with within a cinema camera to a iPhone 10-bit system and it will be good enough. Heck, even Samsung systems that are like 10-bit good enough. It's like, no, again, it's not absolutely awesome, but it's good enough. Now let's understand the pro level aspect of here. Now pro level, you have to understand that when you are talking about movie budget, camera is a jump change at that point in time. Because if you are talking about movies like Batman vs Superman, if you're talking movie about Endgame, you're talking about any big budget movie where you know the actors, where you know the actor, producer, directors and all that, just generally if you take the budget, one would not be like 1% would be allocated to camera if they are very generous with it, or if they are Christopher Nolan, where because negative processing, that's expensive. So other than that, most of the time camera does not even make 1% of it. So that is the whole point. People have deep pocket. when they are dealing with this kind of ball games. Now, consequence of that is they get dedicated equipment. Now, these equipment are highest possible technology at that point in time. So think of this way: cinema camera of 2010 will have the latest and greatest technology possible for that cinema camera. Now, that gives you the best experience possible. That gives you a technology so goddamn advanced that you could literally take an old cinema camera, like proper cinema camera, that is, let's say, just full HD, and it will literally stand next to a 4K camera, low budget 4K camera today. So that's amazing aspect of it. However, even in that kind of environment, even in the place where like billions of dollars is like a good joke, phones are catching up. For example, director of basically Batman versus Superman, Zack Snyder, he made a short movie on that. Now, be mindful, Zack Snyder may not be a best storyteller, but he's a best graphic artist. Basically, the one images that he showed, that looks like freaking masterwork, master painting at this point in time. Now, if we can utilize a freaking iPhone to make a short movie and that looks gorgeous, it's like, whoa. Now, genuinely at this point in time, now again, if you have the money, go YOLO, go RE, go red, go whatever you want to do. But if you do not have the money, then what you gonna do? Now, given the fact that more people have iPhones than the red cameras, I would suggest go with iPhone. Now, for example, Netflix, again, if you have the clout, if you have the reach, you can get your movie like on Netflix, high flying but completely shot on phone. Another movie like Unsane, and there are many more. And even in high budget movie, you may find randomly some scenes that were shot with basically mobile phone, simply because of location constraint. Basically, if they have to go to a place where they cannot shut down it or bring a giant camera, they will have shot it on iPhones and all that jazz. It has happened in big budget movie. So be very mindful at this point in time. Low budget, basically, if you really don't have money, you're gonna use whatever you have at that point in time. iPhones and good Android phones, they are really good. Now, in this regard, I'm keep saying iPhone simply because iPhone is a bit better. Now, Android have certainly caught up to photography and even have surpassed it, and I'm specifically talking about low budget one. That's like, there is no competition. Flat out iPhone versus a low budget Android photography, they are almost neck and neck. And if you take the same budgeting, yeah, Androids are much better. Fundamentally speaking, they are much better. They have much bigger sensor, much better applications, everything is done. Video, on the other hand, iPhone still has tangible advantage where like, let's say, big YouTube channel like Tested could literally during lockdown then just use an iPhone as a primary shooting camera. So that is the whole thing. So for movies, short movies, a low budget system, these equipment are fundamentally replacing low budget second hand camera that people used to use. It's like people are like, hey, I could go for second hand equipment that are harder to use, very difficult to get hold of, to just use iPhone. So that is a very big thing that is happening on a pro level. If you are making your money out of Netflix and if your movie is there, that's serious level. At that point in time, that's not. And this Unsafe actually went to theaters, so you can understand this point in seriously. Like, it is reached a point where it's like, no, the equipment is no longer faulty. Now let's talk about amateur, like basically the category of people who are making money but they are not making GG amount of money. They are not like, so those kind of people like me, basically. Now, a lot of people are in this category. Not one, not two, hundreds to thousands to millions of people exist in this category. There are people who are, making a living uploading to Facebook. There are people who are making their living uploading on Instagram. And these people, as long as they are, getting paid to do their work is valid. So fundamentally, they are dealing with actual amount of job requirements, actual amount of stress. Now, at that point in time, money spending is a very serious thing. Like, money is tight. We cannot just go YOLO. Like, if at this point in time, most YouTuber would want to have like A7 S3, but most can't afford it. Best case scenario is most will afford A7C, but that's the whole point. It's like money is tight, so spending is not very easy. And not to mention, camera is just one part, lens is another part, audio equipment is another part, lighting equipment is another part, set dressing is another aspect. Like, that's a lot of money that you have to sunk into just making a basic bitch YouTube system. So fundamentally, weird camera limitations are not acceptable in this era. Like, for example, I understood the fact that cameras had 30-minute recording limit back in the old days. Why? Because European Union was a stupid person and they were decided like, hey, if your camera records more than 30 minutes, it will become a video camera, tax more than that. Okay, I get that. Now, thankfully, European Union grew up and like they went from older person to like wise person, and they're like, okay, it's a video camera is a separate equipment, still camera is a separate equipment, and stills camera will no longer have that weird limitation. If it's like 30 minutes or more, we cannot charge more. They're like tax wise as it. So okay, Sony was like, okay, they have removed it, and I have to respect Panasonic for doing this. Like, they were replacing this puppy, like they were paying the extra tax in very old cameras also, because they wanted to make sure there is no weird limitations. So that limitation for some reason still exists in two major manufacturers, for example Canon and Nikon, and even Fuji. Why the heck that limitation is there, man? Why? Like, if you say, if my camera overheats, yes, really let that be that. It's like overheating warning. It's like overheated and you shut it off. And if it's truly done for that reason, you could have a scenario where people figure out, hey, I can put a cooling fan. Like, there is a reason we have laptops with cooling fans. There is a reason why desktop have giant coolers. We know how to handle that. Like that, let people take care of it. It's like, why the heck you have weird limitation? Like Fuji's like, oh dude, I made this camera, it's too good. Put a 4K at 10-minute limit. Why nowadays? Why? And all these equipment, even the cheapest equipment, will make iPhone look like cheap. So fundamentally, low budget tool, it's like basically job has a lot of requirements, and at this point in time, more people will be better served by utilizing iPhone or even a high-end Android phone versus a DSLR or mirrorless. Fundamentally speaking, they'll be like, dude, I can just buy this equipment, it has much better, and heck, you can do video editing on this, heck, you can do photo editing in this. Like, that should be common, that should be basic bitch stuff for a dedicated camera equipment, but it's not. So fundamentally, even the amateur world is slowly moving away from mirrorless to basically phone photography. Now, what is the problem? Why is this such a big deal? Well, reality is camera companies are dying, and that's a very big problem. It does not matter whether you are a Fuji shooter, does not matter whether you are a Canon shooter, whether it does not matter whether you're Nikon or Sony shooter. If these companies go down, your equipment becomes basically a problematic aspect of your life, because you need warranty, you need new equipments to come out to enhance your tools, and you need batteries, you need other accessories to be supported. If the company simply starts to disappear, for example like Kodak from Samsung to Olympus, you are in a serious trouble at this point in time. And it's a growing hobby. Like, let's say you started right now and you started investing in a company. Let's say you invested in Nikon, and Nikon disappears tomorrow. You will be left with a lot of equipment which you could sell. Again, you could sell, but here's the deal, you are stuck. You don't want to be there. So camera company dying puts photographers in a very bad position, because photographers are not photographers. Because if every photographer shows up with a mobile phone, even with his skill set which will make his photos look 10 times better with anybody else, nobody is gonna pay him. It's like, think of it this way, like you pulled out an iPhone. It's like, yeah, I'm a photographer, I pulled out an iPhone. People are simply not gonna pay you. Does not matter whether you show up with like a D30-100. People will pay you if you show up with like a DSLR, big camera, mirrorless or something like that, or big ass lens. The bigger the lens, the more money you get. So there's an aspect to that. So it's a very serious. It's like these companies, they are dying and they don't know it. It's like, oh no, we'll be okay. It's like Nikon's CEO, Nikon's business manager, they are all like, yeah, camera division is not making money. Why are you selling garbage? It's like, you know, you are making garbage. You have been in the cinema industry, well, cinema is insane, photographic industry long enough, for almost a century. You know how to make a good equipment. You have been making good equipment. You just decided to, you know what, F the customer. Fun fact, customers are paying you. So if customers are not paying you anymore and your company is not growing, be mindful, the people who are trapped in the system, they are trapped in the system. But the company does not run that way. Like iPhone will not run if customers are like, yeah, we got this percentage of people and we are good and all. Okay, no, they have to keep extracting money out of it. So how do they? App Store, they keep extracting money out of that. That also is not good enough. That's why they are investing in other streaming services. It's like, bro, we have to get more money, because if the core group is not expanding, you're dying. And that's happening with Nikon. And he's like, we are dealing with a shrinking market because you are releasing garbage. You know the fact that you are releasing garbage, and you're like, oh, people are not buying garbage. Like, dude, not every company becomes iPhone where it's like, this stamp will sell it alone. Sometimes you have to work for your equipment. The only reason why Sony is such a good condition is simply because they make semiconductor technology, and that technology goes into every single mobile phone. So fundamentally, Sony is like, they're good. Like, if their camera technology works, awesome. If their sensor technology works, they're awesome. Like, as a company, portfolio wise, they're good. Canon, not so good. Nikon, really not that good. Panasonic, they went there from image Lumix section, now becomes like a small optics section, which has a lot of other security divisions, security camera and all that jazz packed into it. So fundamentally, there is a lot of artificial limits on modern camera. Lot of artificial limit. Like, I can understand the fact that cameras cannot do, let's say, 10-bit or 20-bit, 15-bit record. 15, I am saying basically 10-bit, 12-bit or 16-bit recording. Okay, fair enough. Just have the output for it. Just have a HDMI, full-size HDMI cable that can have the output. Only one camera right now in low budget, quote-unquote low budget, can do that. Why? Why there is limit, given the fact that the 10-bit is now standard in mobile phones? In mobile phones, Dolby HDR certification is standard in freaking mobile phones now. And I am provided a video down below where a person used a basically V30, LG V30. Yes, it's a very old mobile phone against a red, and holy damn, it's damn close. It's not like, whoa, like this is red, this is like, LG garbage. No, it's like, whoa. Like, unless I show you side by side, you will be like, whoa. So that happened, past tense, that happened. And that's why I specified the pro industry is the fact that short films are shot in that. That's why Apple is pouring so much money into this. That's why Sony even started to make a mobile division. Again, they are not releasing it worldwide yet, but even their mobile phone has like so much oomph packed into it, where it's like it can truly compete against lower end systems. So that's the whole point. And their abilities are not improving, like they are stuck in 1990s. For example, can any one of you tell me why the heck I have to buy this to do time-lapse in modern cameras? Why? Like, this is a basic bitch function where it's like, dude, press this button to set your gap times, press this button to control your exposure, and press this for setting up the number, how many shots you want to do. This is a basic bitch function. This is a function that a firmware upgrade can do, but for some reason, no modern camera can take care of it. Like, why? Like, this is truly painful. Like, they're stuck in 1990s and they're like, dude, we trapped the people bought our lens, so they're trapped with us and we can just relax. They're not gonna grow like this. And not to mention, they are suddenly like, oh, why the heck my company is selling? Oh, why the heck my company is not making profit? It's like, yeah, this is the reason. This alone is the reason. At this point, like, that's the biggest thing happened in the camera industry. Is like, whoa, one camera company, instead of putting bulb mode after 30 seconds, is like, what if you can stretch it to, let's say, 900 seconds, 15 minutes, okay? Which many people, landscape photographers and people who deal with ND filters, they do regularly. Astrophotographer regularly do that. It's like, why the heck that's a new function? That's like basic pitch function. So the fact that improvement in ability did not happen, like the camera is exactly same as it was in 2015, that's really painful. Look, compare that to your mobile phone. Your mobile phone went from, oh bro, I can barely do two things, to like, bro, I got this. And wireless. Now, wireless have been implemented in cameras for a very long time at this point in time, 5+ years, and they have not improved. Like, they have Bluetooth, but they can't do anything with Bluetooth. They cannot be in a position where they're like, dude, we have the Bluetooth, use your Bluetooth headset to listen to the audio monitoring. Your Bluetooth microphones, the headset, they are much better than any onboard system you have. And specifically, if you have distance between camera and yourself, onboard basically audio is useless. And not to mention, you have Bluetooth headset will be here, so directly here to here, much better audio. And not to mention, many Bluetooth headsets have very good noise cancellation, so they will work. They will not have the audio richness of a dedicated audio recorder, but they will have more than good enough. So fundamentally, the fact that no improvement has happened, it's like it could barely do anything in 2015. In 2020, it can barely do anything. It's the same thing. It's like, why? That's the whole point. They're still stuck in 1980s. Like, I have this Canon 800T, and in video stream, it has a touch screen. I cannot play, basically play. I do not have to have control on playhead. It's like I can't do basic things like this. Like, these are apps on an iPhone, and even on Android, you can do that. You can do live histogram fine tuning. Basically, you can change your midpoint. You can create your own quote unquote custom live. You can have your own vector scope, own live, basically everything live you can do with your camera phone. Basically camera equipment which is 10 times more expensive is like, yeah, no, we will not give you the ability to see the histogram, because you know what, F you. So the reality is, the camera company is trolling the customer, relying on the old facts that, like, you are trapped in an iPhone are slowly like, no, you just keep trapping it, like, I'll take your money away. And even Android is catching up. So fundamentally, that's really bad for the camera companies and for photographers, because again, the photographers will have to increase their rates and nobody will pay them, simply because their basic bitch mobile phone would be so close to it. It's like, yeah, you can use a 800D to make amazing photos, but yeah, it's like, is it worth it? That's no point. So it's a really bad position for camera industry, and they have to grow up. If they keep approaching like BlackBerry, they will die like BlackBerry. So this was my presentation on basically mobile phone versus mirrorless in 2021. I hope you liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike. Press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I try to read to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free. And as always, thanks for watching.